In addition to the heinous crimes, some of history's most notorious serial killers also have surprisingly high IQs, while at least one study showed that the average serial killer's IQ was only 94.7. The people on this list turned out to be quite intelligent, though they were phenomenally cruel. This list breaks down the IQs and crimes of 10 notorious serial killers. Number 10. Ted Bundy. With an IQ of 136, Ted Bundy confessed to murdering 30 women between 1974 and 1978, though his true victim count remains unknown. Bundy was known for mutilating his victim bodies and performing sex acts on their remains. He eventually ended up on the FBI's 10 most wanted list and was arrested, though he managed to break out of jail more than once. Bundy was eventually captured, tried for his crimes, and executed via the electric chair in Saco, Florida on January 24, 1989. Number 9. Steven Christopher Stanko. With an IQ of 143 and a grandiose sense of self-importance, failure to conform to social norms, and lack of remorse, Steven Stanko had already served a prison sentence for kidnapping and published a book about prison. After his release, Stanko began researching serial killers, and articles on famous killers were found in his home. Stanko killed his girlfriend as well as a fellow library patron. He also sexually assaulted his girlfriend's daughter, who managed to escape and contact the police, leading to Stanko's capture in 2005. He is currently serving his sentence on death row in South Carolina. Number 8. Lawrence Bittaker. With an IQ of 138, Lawrence Bittaker, one half of the Tall Box Killers, abducted, raped, tortured, and murdered 5 teenage girls. Even prior to the murders, he had had trouble with the law, and while in a state prison was found to be paranoid and borderline psychotic with little control over his impulses. When Bittaker met Roy Norris, they began murdering together. They bought a van, which they nicknamed the Murder Mac. They committed a number of atrocities in their killing spree, and were only found out when Norris was picked up on a minor drug offenses. Number 7. Jeffrey Dahmer. With an IQ of 144, Jeffrey Dahmer murdered 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. He would pick them up typically at guys' bars and take them home before drugging and strangling them. After performing sex acts with their lifeless bodies, he would dismember them while taking photos for posterity along the way. He also kept body parts in his freezer, engaged in cannibalism, and performed lobotomies. Dahmer was eventually caught when police found Tracy Edwards, a man wandering around with his wrists in handcuffs, who said Dahmer had drugged him. Dahmer was swiftly arrested and later killed in prison by a fellow inmate. Number 6. Edmund Kemper. With an IQ of 145, investigators describe Edmund Kemper as a natural-born killer, and with good reason. Kemper was formidable. He was 6 feet 9 inches, weighed over 300 pounds, and had an IQ of 145. His victims include his grandparents, several women, and even his own mother. Authorities believe Kemper murdered 10 people in total, and he reportedly kept some of his victim heads for days before disposing of them. Kemper managed to evade law enforcement for 9 years until he eventually turned himself and requested the death penalty. Instead, Kemper was given 8 life sentences. Number 5. Andrew Cunanan. With an IQ of 147, Andrew Cunanan is widely known for murdering the fashion designer Giannini Versace. But he also had 4 other victims. He was reportedly a bright student and spoke 7 languages, but ran into troubles in school when he began pathologically lying. From a young age, Andrew reportedly had an obsession with violent sex and even had sex for money as a teenager. Despite the numerous murders he committed, beginning with his former lover Jeff Trill, the FBI couldn't seem to catch him. Versace is considered Kenanan's final victim. Kenanan took his own life 8 days later, never revealing his motive for murdering the designer. Number 4. Carol Edward Cole, with an IQ of 152. As a child, Carol Edward Cole's mothers forced him to watch her have sex with other men while his father was away. She would then threaten him with violence to prevent him from telling his father. Cole later claimed his trauma contributed to his issues with women in his adult life. Authorities believe his first murder was the drowning of his friend at age 10, though nobody knew it was a murder at the time. As an adult, he picked up women in bars and killed them, targeting women he believed to be loose or adulteries. The police caught Cole twice in the middle of violent acts, but he managed to talk his way out of them. He was eventually sentenced and executed for the death of 5 women, though his death toll may have been much bigger. Number 3. Charlene Gallego, with an IQ of 160. Charlene Gallego committed numerous murders with her husband Gerald Gallego in the late 70s. With an IQ of 160, some believe Charlene was the mastermind behind the couple's killing. They kidnapped 10 people, some as young as 13 and most of them female, whom they sexually assaulted and held captive before eventually murdering them. Charlene later agreed to testify against her husband and as a result received only a 17-year prison sentence. She was released in 1997. Number 2. Ted Kaczynski, with an IQ of 167. Ted, also known as the Unabomber, had an IQ of 167 and was considered a math prodigy. Kaczynski was accepted into Harvard at just 16, but he reportedly took issues with modern technology. To take a stand against it, he mailed bombs, mostly to professors, between 1978 and 1995 that killed 3 people and injured another 23. Kaczynski would leave messages encrypted with mathematical codes that not even the FBI could track. He managed to escape capture for 70 years, but upon the release of his manifesto, his brother and sister-in-law recognized the writing style and tipped off the FBI. Number 1 on the list, Rodney Alcala, with an estimate 170 IQ. Rodney Alcala, also known as the dating game serial killer, had an estimate IQ of 170. Alcala was known for being the winning contestant on a 1978 episode of The Dating Game, which occurred while he was killing women in California. Although after Alcala's trial, investigators found more than 1,000 photos he took of his crimes and estimate he had 50 victims. Alcala was only found guilty of killing 5 people. Alcala managed to get off on a technicality in his first murder trial but was convicted in 2005 due to DNA evidence. Alcala died in prison from natural causes in 2021. So these were the 10 smartest serial killers with the high IQs and those who used their intelligence to commit heinous crimes. Is there anyone we have missed? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.